Good afternoon, members of the Guides Forecast. Bob Reese here, giving you the fishing report for Thursday, the 2nd of September. Starting with the bad news, more fishery closures upstream of Tongue Point to Warrior Rock will close after tomorrow, starting on 12:01 a.m. Saturday. No retention of Chinook above Tongue Point to Warrior Rock. Shortly after that, beginning after the day of fishing on the 6th, starting at 12:01 a.m. on the 7th, the reach from Warrior Rock to Bonneville Dam will also close to Chinook retention due to impacts the sport fleet has had on Thule strain stocks of Chinook in the main stem. So sorry about those closures. That should intensify pressure for what's supposed to be a robust return of coho to the lower Columbia. We are not seeing those coho show on September 2nd down here in high numbers. I think we'll have a good indication as to what the magnitude of the run is when we start seeing stronger tides here in the estuary. So starting with where we went this morning, instead of heading upstream to Tongue Point, which we felt that maybe the opportunities were going to start slowing up there given the intensifying tide series, we went towards buoy 10 to try and catch the last part of outgoing tide and the first part of incoming. Ideally, the first rip to come through buoy 10 on the incoming tide. That was the plan of action. There was activity for coho mostly and some Chinooks down by buoy 12 to buoy 10, buoy 11 to buoy 10 on both sides of the river there. Both Chinook and coho were caught in fair numbers on the last part of outgoing tide and on the first part of incoming tide as well. We only landed one hatchery coho out of the mix, just had a few other opportunities, but there were some boats that did have quite a bit of activity, but still only found a few keeper fish, a few keeper coho for the home pack. One boat had a quintuple on, landed four, a Chinook and two wild coho, and retained only one of the four they landed. So that gives you an idea of the level of handle that we're seeing in the estuary and not so much the level of retention. Hopefully that'll change with the next surge of coho, whenever that comes. As far as the other good bite, maybe the better bite, today was at Tongue Point. Again, it has been fairly consistent for most of this weak tide series. There were some Chinook caught and more coho caught up there. Sea lions are starting to key in on that area a little bit more, seems like every day. So be prepared for that. But there were fair numbers of fish caught above Tongue Point today, mostly from Rice Island, even upstream of Miller Island to Altoona. Boats have been targeting Chinook up there and catching coho as well. That opportunity again will close for Chinook salmon starting after tomorrow, starting Saturday after tomorrow's fishery prosecutes. So the final report section for the lower river, we've had some good success on the Washington side above the bridge. Recently, that did not pan out well yesterday, although we got three keepers over there. There was slower fishing over there today, despite the fact there still seems to be a lot of fish over there. They just weren't biting well today. And seals and sea lions are especially voracious over there. If you're one of the few boats that fishing over there, you're just the prime target, as we've talked about before. So be prepared to do battle if you don't have a lot of help in out-competing where the seals and sea lions are going to focus their efforts on. So that's the estuary report. Somewhat unimpressive for September 2nd. A lot of us feel that the estuary should be inundated with both Chinook salmon, which we would have to release, as well as coho. They're just not showing in big numbers down here, so it's got some of us concerned. We're supposed to see 1 million coho on the A-run fish, which will be supposedly peaking about mid-September, and then another 500,000 for the B-run fish at peak in October. So far, we're not impressed. All ocean fisheries for salmon, coho salmon, are closed now. So even our saltwater opportunities have disappeared. We knew that was going to happen, but in theory, that should the quota south of Falcon only attained a little over 50% of their allowable catch. So there should be a lot of leftover salmon on the table that supposedly are going to make their way back to the Columbia River. So only time will tell on that, but that's the fishing report. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not paid members of the Guides Forecast. We're going to give quite a bit more detail, specifically a forecast on what to look for tomorrow and for the rest of the week in the print version, as well as the video version for our paid subscribership. So stay safe out there. It's going to be a busy weekend, especially with the further constraining of the Chinook fishery above Tongue Point. I anticipate we'll see a lot of boats back down here targeting what most hope will be coho that start to show up in better numbers. So subscribe, thank you, and stay safe out there.